Introduction. Production functions shows the relationship between a given quantity of input and its maximum possible output. Given the production function, the relationship between additional quantities of input and additional output can be easily obtained. This kind of relationship yards the law of production. The traditional theory of production studies the managerial input-output relationship under short run and long run. In the short run, input-output relations are studied with one variable input, while the other inputs are held constant. The law of production under these assumptions are called law of variable proportion. In the long run, input-output relations are studied assuming all the inputs to be variable. The long-run input-output relations are studied under law of return to scale. Law of variable proportion. The law of return states the relationship between variable input and output in the short term. By definition, certain factors of production are available in short supply during the short run. Such factors which are available in unlimited supply even during the short period are known as variable factors. In short run, therefore, the firm can employ a limited or fixed quantity of fixed factors and unlimited quantity of variable factors. In other words, firm can employ in short run varying quantities of variable inputs against given quantity of fixed factors. This kind of changes in inputs combined leads to variation in factor product proportion. The law which brings out the relationship between varying factor properties and output are therefore known as law of variable proportion. The variation in input leads to the disappropriate increase in output more and more units of variable factors when applied cause an increase in output, but after a point the extra output will grow less and less. The law which brings out this tendency in production is known as law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns levels that any attempt to increase output by increasing only one factor finally faces diminishing returns. The law states that when some factors remain constant, more and more units of variable factors are in use. The production may increase initially at the increasing rate, but after a point it increases only at diminishing rate. Land and capital remains fixed in the short term, whereas labor shows a variable nature. The above table illustrates several important features of an typical production function with one variable input. Here, both average product and marginal product first rise reaches a maximum then decline. Average product is the product for one unit of labor. It is arrived at by dividing the total product by number of workers. Marginal product is the additional product resulting terms additional labor. It is found out by dividing the change in total product by change in number of workers. The total output increases at an increasing rate till the employment of fourth workers. The rate of increase in marginal product reveals this. Any additional labor employed beyond the fourth labor clearly faces the operation of law of diminishing returns. The maximum marginal product is 60, after which it is continues to fall and unlimitedly become negative. Thus, when more and more units of workers are combined with other factors, the total output increases first at an increasing rate, then at a diminishing rate, finally it becomes negative. The graphically representation, the above table is shown below. OX axis represents the unit of labor and OY axis represents the unit of output. The total output curve has a steep rise till the employment of the force workers. This shows that the output increases at an increasing rate till the employment of forced labor. TP curve still goes on increasing but only at a diminishing rate. Finally, TP curve shows a downward trend. The law of diminishing returns operation at three stages. At the first stage, total product increases at an increasing rate. The marginal product at the stage increases at an increasing rate, resulting in the greater increase in total product. The average product also increases. The stage continues up to the point where average product is equal to marginal product. The law of increasing returns in operation of this stage, law of increasing returns operation from the second stage onwards. The second stage, the total product continues to increase but at a diminishing rate. As the marginal product at this stage starts falling, the average product also declines. The second stage comes at an end where total product becomes maximum and marginal becomes zero. The marginal product becomes negative in the third stage. So the total product also declines. The average product continues to decline in the third stage. Of law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns is based on the following assumption. Return is based on the following assumption. The production technology retains unchanged. The following factor is homogeneous. Any one factor is constant. The fixed factor remains constant. Law of returns to scale. In the long run, all the factors of production are available and an increase in output is possible by increasing all the inputs. The law of returns to scale explains the technological relationship between changing scale of input and output. The law of returns of scale explains how the stimulated and proportionate increase in all the inputs affect the output. The increase in output may be proportionate, more than proportionate or less than proportionate. If the increase in output is proportionate to the increase in input, it is constant returns to scale. If it is less than proportionate, it is diminishing returns to scale. The increasing returns to scale comes first, then constant, and finally diminishing returns to scale happens. Increasing returns to scale. When proportionate increase in all factors of production results in a more than proportionate increase in output, and this results first stage of proportion, which is known as increasing returns to scale. Marginal output increases at a stage. Higher degree of specialization, falling costs, etc. will lead higher efficiency, which results increased returns in the very first stage of production. Constant returns to scale. Firm cannot maintain increasing returns to scale indefinitely. After the first stage, firm enters a stage when total output tends to increase at a rate which is equal to the rate of increase in input. This stage comes into operation when economies of large-scale production are neutralized by the diseconomies of large-scale operation. Diminishing returns to scale. In this stage, a proportionate increase in all the inputs results only less than proportionate increase in output. This is because of the diseconomies of large-scale production. When the firm grows further, the problem of management arises, which results in efficiency, and it will affect the position of output. Conclusion. From the law of variable proportion, theory of production and theory of cost, it may not be understood that there is no hope in rising standards of living of mankind. The fact, however, is that we can suspend the operation of diminishing returns by continually improving the techniques of production through the progress in science and technology.